high into the dressing room. That's what their intent and purpose is right now. Turgeon carrying on a conversation with Larry Brown, who's on one knee.
Mark Turgeon's going to have to penetrate here. When the ball comes back to him, he's got to go to the bucket with it.
Here we go with 7 seconds. Ron Kellogg with 5. And that'll be off of Auburn. 1 second. And now Manning, they're going to send Manning in for this inbounds play. That's interesting.
You've got to be very careful not to pick up a foul here. Danny Manning possibly to set a screen or to try to free him for a jump shot.
Now coming out is Boyle. Also Calvin Thompson comes in.
The wheels are turning right now. Danny Manning's got to be very careful not to pick up a foul on the screen.
Here's Kellogg behind the screen. Close. And we have come to the end of this first half of play. Auburn leads Kansas 30-28. CBS Sports coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this word from your local station.
Dealer, best of all, it's a Cadillac. And by Valvoline, because your car is special.
Well, the paramount situation in this ball game is who's going to pick up that 4th foul first, with Manning and Dreiling with 3 each, Person with 3. In that first half of play, before Manning went out, he was able to pick up 5 rebounds. Person, who played all but 2 minutes of that first half, had 8 points and 3 rebounds. But the man that led the way was Frank Ford with a total of 12 points. And there's the field goal percentage, just dead even.
Well, Frank Ford shot 5 for 5 from the field, 2 for 2 from the line for 12 points. Also had 3 rebounds. On the other hand, we look at Kansas. Ron Kellogg and Calvin Thompson, both 5 for 9. The only difference in this game right now is that Kansas has not gotten to the free throw line.
And so they didn't get a lot of time out of Dreiling and Manning. Person played all but 2 minutes. So Auburn will inbounds as we start the second half of play. Again, the winner of this game will meet North Carolina. North Carolina earlier, very, very fine game, defeated Notre Dame. A big steal, Kenny Smith on a slam dunk, putting it away for Dean Smith's team. White at one of the guard spots along with Ford. Same 5 that opened with Morris, Moore, and Person. Person that first half showed he could pass the ball, handle it well, shoot it, rebound. Exactly living up to what we thought he was. There's a deflection by Dreiling. Had to be careful, but he reached in, he got away with it. Cedric Hunter off to Calvin Thompson, and that was a bad pass. Manning tried to make something of it.
Danny Manning very fortunate there, too. Calvin Thompson put him in a spot where he could have picked up an offensive foul. He fortunately was able to sidestep the defender.
Here's Ford, who had that strong first half with 12 points. Cedric Hunter jumping out now on White, and it goes to Person. Broken up. Dreiling and Manning both staying over there around Person, playing with 3, and that's got to be of concern to Larry Brown.
Kansas just packing that zone in right now. Look to see if Auburn can spring either Frank Ford or Chuck Person free on the perimeter for a little jump shot.
Here's Person. Morris follows. Dreiling brings it down. Cedric Hunter up to Calvin Thompson. There's Thompson and Kellogg. Outstanding shooting that first half. Dreiling looked like he had a pass to the basket and passed at the last moment. Arkansas still trailing St. John's. That now in the second half of play. Kellogg in that first half was 5 of 9 for 10 points, as was Thompson. And Oklahoma now still leading Illinois State. Oklahoma split with these Kansas Jayhawks, both of them winning at home this season. This game looked like it was going to be a high-scoring affair, and it's really slowed down in that department. Dreiling with another rebound. That's his 3rd. Dreiling, Manning on the drive, and
There's a hairline call there, Gary. I mean, Manning's looking at his 4th foul right there after we've only played 2 minutes, and I'm not so sure he wouldn't have gotten it. But at the last moment, Gerald White reaches in. Let's see if we can see him reach in. He's got good position, but watch his right arm. And when his right arm went down, the referee made the call.
I'm not sure he was in position, though. He might have been moving still. But anyway, you're right. It was a hairline call. First foul on White instead of the 4th on Manning. Here's Kellogg. Riley has to lay off. Be very careful. Rebound claim by Person. Ford brings it out to Person. That's his spot. Rebound, Morris. Kellogg brings it in. You can see Dreiling has to be very, very hesitant inside.
You become so tentative, you really don't even play, is what's happening with Greg Dreiling now.
Kellogg will try another one. And he doesn't get this one in. Both guys fight over it, and it'll be off of Auburn. Morris and Person. And they look like they're mad at each other. I think they had to talk to Morris about it. Little family feud here. Look at Sonny Smith grinning.
Chuck Person's got to give a little leadership there and say, hey, look, it's better to have 2 of us on the ball than nobody right now, so let's just get it back.
Hunter to Manning. Kansas has had some opportunities. They get the roll, and it's all tied up for the 4th time. Hunter putting some pressure now on Gerald White.
They're just delaying the ball just enough to slow him down and then drop him back into that 2-3 zone. Chuck Person's had some good shots, just can't get one to drop.
Mike Swanson, our statistician, pointed out that Auburn is 0 for 9. Their last 9 shots. That's going into the first half as well as the start of the second half. Kansas is 1 of 7, so both of them are really cold. And it started out the other way. Both teams are hitting extremely well.
When you lose rhythm, sometimes during the course of the ball game, it's tough to get it back, and that's what both teams are facing right now.
That'll get your rhythm back. Chris Morris showing his range from outside. Gives Auburn a 2-point lead.
Auburn just packed way back in now in that zone defense. See if they're playing the triangle again.
Manning. Good defense that time by Morris. Rebound Ford. Hunter on the steal. Cedric Hunter runs into Dreiling, and he is going to be fouled. Foul will go on Ford. That was Hunter at 5'11", trying to run around the shoe tops of Dreiling to get to the basket.
Well, Auburn got a real nice defensive rebound there, and Cedric Hunter read it very well. He was lying in the weeds like a defensive back. He picked it off, and he had clear sailing for the layup, and Greg Dreiling was running interference for him. He just couldn't get a clean shot to the basket.
Ford, by the way, has committed his 3rd personal, so he is the 4th man in this game to register his 3rd foul. Ford with 3, Person with 3, Manning and Dreiling. Hunter is a very poor free throw shooter, shooting 52%, and as we say that, he doesn't even hit the iron. Kansas, that's their first free throw of the game. Hunter is, in the estimation of Larry Brown, maybe the best athlete on this team. Doesn't get the second one. Person has a rebound. Auburn by 1. 16:20 to go.
Cedric Hunter's doing a real nice job on the outlet pass. He's shadowing Gerald White, not letting him get the quick pass, which will get them in their up-tempo ball game, just slowing Auburn down enough to disrupt their rhythm.
Here's Morris again. 2 in a row.
Well, that's the way he started out the ball game. He hit 2 long jumpers, and he's responded now in the second half and given Auburn a 3-point lead.
He was in that all-SEC freshman team. Averaged about 10 points a game. Showing his range at 6'7". 34-31 Auburn. Dreiling couldn't hang on.
Greg Dreiling very frustrated. It's so tough for him to get involved when you see those zones all packed in, and he tried to catch it. He tried to make the move that time before he caught it, and Gary, so many times we talk about you got to catch it before you can shoot it.
Calvin Thompson jumping out on White now. Tempo has really slowed down in the game after coming out with a lot of fireworks. And Morris shoot it again. He's hit 2 from there, I guess. Personal back out. Auburn in no hurry now. Person, beautiful move, but that's his 4th foul.
Oh, that's a tough call right there.
The basket will count. Person has 4 fouls, and Sonny Smith's going to have to get him out of there.
Let's take a look at this, Gary, to see if Dreiling has got position on the penetration. Had he gotten to the spot before Person took off? That's the question.
Person will have to come out of the ball game. He'll leave as Auburn now has been able to take a 5-point lead. 15 minutes to go in the game. Auburn now has matched their biggest lead. They had a 5-point lead in the first half. The foul situation, as you see, Person now just picked up his 4th. Dreiling and Manning with 3, but Dreiling has been very tentative with that 3rd foul. Ford picked up his 3rd here in the second half.
Gary, there are a lot of guys who can play and continue to be aggressive when they have fouls. It appears to me that Greg Dreiling, when he gets fouls, plays very, very tentative, and that's nothing against him, but a lot of guys, especially big players, are so afraid to go for the block shot or the rebound for fear of picking up that 4th foul.
36-31. Hunter on the double pump fake on Ford. Doesn't get the roll. Dreiling trying to follow, and Hunter comes up with it. Coming into the ball game again is Kerry Holland, number 33 for the Tigers. Danny Manning lean in. Kellogg saves it. And Kellogg will get the basket, and he's fouled by Holland. Chance for a 3-point play.
Multiple shot opportunities for Kansas. Ron Kellogg finally getting the job done on the baseline, drawing the personal foul. Jeffrey Moore and Kellogg scrambling for the loose ball. Kellogg outfights it. He's able to get the shot to go in a foul. Ron Kellogg now will have an opportunity to cut this Auburn lead now to 2.
2 fouls on Holland. Kellogg led the Big 8 in free throw percentage. He has 13 points now, and it's back to a 2-point game.
Look for Auburn now really to hold the ball out and be very, very patient. Without Chuck Person in the ball game, they've got to be very selective with their shots.
Morris, baseline. Followed beautifully that time by Ford. That shows his strength to go up on the boards, and Manning has committed his 4th foul. He has made 4 fouls, and all of them were not the power type fouls. They're just kind of a reach in, the type that drive a coach crazy.
Well, here's a problem. You don't check out very well when you're in the zone. That time, Frank Ford came all the way from the right wing, about 15 away, and took the air ball, missed, and was able to convert it. Gary, a lot of times when you're a zone, your eyes follow the flight of the ball, and they don't really look back to find a guy to block out, and that was the case that time. And Frank Ford just slipped in there, and he's a very big, strong kid for a guard, and he took advantage of it.
That's that inexperience again that we were talking about. Those things will change as Danny continues to play. Dreiling rips it down, a 4-point lead now for Auburn. And there is going to be a steal and a foul on White. He almost pulled it off. That's his 2nd. There were several things that Sonny Smith said turned his team around, and one of them was the point guard play of White. Another was the fact that they learned a bad shot from a good shot, and the fact that Ford started shooting so much better from the field. They really got started off poorly this year. Here's Dreiling. Coming up for the rebound is Ford, and Dreiling that time actually didn't realize where he was on the floor, I don't believe, when he put the shot up. St. John still leads the Razorbacks, and Oklahoma continues to lead Illinois State. And Brent will have a wrap-up of the entire day's activities with highlights and scores following this game.
Auburn showing very good patience here for a team that really likes to get out and run with the basketball. They've got a 4-point lead, and right now they're in the driver's seat.
Piper has come back into the ball game. He replaced Manning in the first half. He's back in again. He had 1 jump shot. Morris almost lost it, comes up with it. Shows his strength. This is the biggest lead of the game now for the Auburn Tigers of 6.
You know, in talking to Sonny Smith yesterday, I got the feeling that he didn't feel like they could play half-court basketball. Right now, they're having to do that with his foul problems, and they're doing a very good job of it.
Larry Brown asks for a timeout. The Jayhawks will have to steady themselves. With Manning on the bench with 4, they trail by 6 points at the 12:47 mark. But Doug Collins, 40-34, Auburn their biggest lead. This game started out like a track meet. Both teams burying the shots from outside. Then the foul trouble started to appear, and it's really changed the whole game.
Well, what happened? Chuck Pearson is a guy who likes to bang the boards. He likes to go strong. You've got Dreiling and Manning, Frank Ford. All those guys picked up fouls early and became very tentative. Now it became a jump shooting perimeter game. And right now, Auburn is doing a very good job of just milking the clock and then getting a good shot. And Jeffrey Moore and Chris Morris have done a nice job knocking them in.
Kansas thought they could run in this game, and it hasn't happened. Heisman hit one in the first half, tries another. Dreiling had it for a moment. It's off of Auburn. In that first half, Calvin Thompson had a strong performance. He had 10 points. He hasn't even scored in the second half. Everything has changed. Hasn't even taken a shot, for that matter. What is it they say? You forgot what you were doing well sometimes.
They're actually playing a box-and-one defense on Calvin Thompson to keep him away from the ball. We've got a 4-man zone, actually a 3-man zone in the triangle and 2.
They'll let Hunter shoot, and they'll let Piper shoot. Piper takes advantage of it.
Auburn is playing a triangle and 2 defense again. They're guarding Kellogg and Thompson man-to-man. The other 3 players are playing a zone.
A 4-point lead. White with Hunter all over him. Thompson on the trap. Piper has a steal. Off it comes to Thompson. Calvin Thompson puts that one away, and it's a 2-point game. And Morris ended up in the nickel seats for Auburn. That was a powerful move by Calvin Thompson.
Chris Piper, great play there. It's a jump shot he hit, and he created the steal. This might get Calvin Thompson off and running in the second half.
So they've all of a sudden taken that 6-point disadvantage. They've cut it to 2. Let's look at this.
Chris Piper again forcing the steal. The 2 Auburn players are going to run head into each other and wipe out, and Calvin Thompson finishing off with a strong dunk.
I didn't think Thompson had that much. Gary Bender along with Doug Collins. We're on the campus at Notre Dame. This game with 12 minutes to go. The winner will play North Carolina, who won earlier today, and by an end result moves into the Final 16 for the 5th straight year. No one can match that in NCAA play. Kansas a little spurred after being down by 6, 2 quick baskets, and a mishandled ball by Holland, and Kansas will get it back with a chance to tie it up. And what a reversal here all of a sudden. Kansas making a surge.
I think a lot of it's come from Chris Piper. Reserve off the bench has given them a big lift. And that's what you have to have in tournament play. You got to have someone step to the front and do something maybe a little out of the ordinary.
Calvin Thompson, that's his first shot of the second half, and he's fouled. Jeff Moore committing the foul, his first. It's amazing you can play that long, 8 minutes before Calvin Thompson gets a shot.
Well, I think that Auburn, you got to give them a little credit. They're trying to play that triangle 2 defense and keep the ball out of his hands. But Jeffrey Moore there committed a freshman foul, a jump shooter fading away, you foul him. As a coach, I used to always tell our players, please don't foul a jump shooter. He does not deserve to be to the free throw line. If he's going to come in here and take a beating, then he can get to the free throw line. Otherwise, let's not let him get there.
Thompson now at the free throw line. I should say that was the second shot. Thompson did have the jam, but it was the first shot from outside for him. Now a chance to tie it up. He has 13 points. Rebound cleared effectively by Holland. When will they bring Person back and Manning back, do you think?
I think they'll try to stay with Manning down as long as they possibly can. They'd like to have him at least the last 6 or 7 minutes of the ball game. With Person, if he can continue to stay in the lead, speaking of Sonny Smith, he's got to let him sit there.
Here's Morris. Well, you got to respect him. He'll let it go in a hurry.
I didn't realize he had that kind of range on his jump shot.
There's Piper reaching around, committing the foul, his first. 3rd team foul against KU. That's where they picked up a lot of those fouls, trying to front the man inside. That's where Manning got into difficulty.
Those little reach fouls are the ones the officials will get you on. A lot of times they'll let you bang and use your body, but when you start reaching with your hands, that's when they'll get you.
Ford will set it up now for the Tigers. A lot of time to go, 11-20. A 1-point lead for Auburn. White ducking in. He traveled with it. So the Jayhawks, after the 10th turnover against Auburn, has a chance to take the lead. We keep updating you on those other games that are going right now. Here's one of them now with St. John's leading 52-46.
Arkansas hanging tough.
And so is Illinois State. Oklahoma's got a battle on their hands. Bob Donowald's team.
Here's a triangle and 2 defense again, Gary. We see Kellogg and Thompson being chased man-to-man. The 3-man zone being played by Holland, Jeffrey Moore, Frank Ford.
Cedric Hunter, he passed the shot up the first time, but he came back to hit this one. This is the first lead for KU since the 6:14 mark of the first half. 41-40 KU over Auburn. I think Larry Brown would like to win this and face Dean Smith.
Oh, I'm sure that in the back of his mind, there's a possibility there, although he's trying to keep it away right now.
3-on-2 break. Cedric Hunter in the middle. Off to Kellogg. And you can see that wasn't going to go in. He just had kind of a hesitation move on the jumper. Something you hit him from 25, but you put him up that close. Baseline. Ford. He's fouled by Piper. That's his second. Coming into the game now will be Darren Guest. 32. Morris will sit down. I should say Moore. There's Moore and Morris in this ball game. Jeff Moore sits down. Jeff Moore out of Birmingham. Another freshman, 6'7". And now Milton Newton will come in for the first time for Kansas. Kellogg will come out of there. Newton is out of the Washington, D.C. area. Played at Coolidge High School. Excellent athlete. And now Mark Turgeon comes in. And Hunter will leave. At the line, playing very well for this Auburn team is Ford. He has 14 points, 6 rebounds, 2 of 3 from the line.
He's going to have to keep them in the ball game right now offensively. When you look at the team they have on the floor, he's really the only legitimate scorer other than Chris Morris. So it's going to be up to Gerald White to continue to get the ball to Frank Ford and let him attack the basket as he did on the previous play and get to the free throw line.
Auburn shooting very well from the free throw line. For the year, they're only shooting 64%.
Frank Ford is only a 61%er on the line himself.
They're 6 of 7 this afternoon. Auburn has retaken the lead. There's Turgeon. He's coming in, gets a crack at it. Dreiling tries to follow. Rebound by Guest, who had just checked in. Tell you what, he's not bashful either. Big, strong guy, Darren Guest.
I'd say I saw him play in high school. He used to play with white goggles on. Boy, was he an imposing figure underneath in a high school basketball game.
6'9", 225. Nine and a half minutes to go on the game.
With Milt Newton on the floor for Kansas right now, they're a little bit more aggressive on the defense, looking to extend a little bit more, try to create some turnovers.
Here's Morris from outside. Rebound. Mark Turgeon came up with it somehow. Turgeon has it batted away. He'll retrieve it. Up to Calvin Thompson. Kansas with a chance to take the lead as we approach 9 minutes to go.
I'm surprised Auburn's still in a triangle 2 defense. They're chasing on Milton Newton as well right now.
They gave Turgeon another opportunity, and he gets this one. 43-42. There's St. John still leading. 2 good games. Inside by Guest. He lost the rebound. Newton brings it out. Kansas with a 1-point lead, and Larry Brown says, hey, let's set this up. Larry on his knees. It'll do it to you if you coach very long. Here's Piper. He's hit a couple. He's hit 3. The biggest lead of the game for Kansas, and Piper has been quite a story in this game.
Well, he's been the key right now. He's given them a great lift. He's created a turnover for a dunk, and he's hit 3 big baskets.
Chuck Person is going to come into the game. Sonny Smith doesn't like what he sees. Frank Ford nails it. It's a 1-point game.
That's what Frank Ford's got to do. He's got to realize, I'm the man out here right now until Chuck Person can get back in there.
Calvin Thompson now is having some problems with his right foot. We're going to have an official's timeout. Ron Kellogg will come in now, replace Calvin Thompson. Also, Person checks in. Person coming in, playing with 4 fouls. Still don't see Danny Manning. He's on the bench with 4. So it'll be Piper, Hunter, Milton Newton, Ron Kellogg, and Greg Dreiling for the Jayhawks. 1-point lead for KU. 7:50 left in the game.
Box and one defense right now for Auburn. They're chasing only Kellogg. The other 4 players playing a zone. Playing a lot of gimmick defenses today.
Ron Kellogg, he's been quiet. Rebound clear by Person. They had Morris down the other end. They didn't see him.
Possession of the basketball so important right now for Auburn. They need to come down and get a good shot. They also have Person in the game now to look to other than just Frank Ford.
Inside, and is that on Manning? If it is, it's his 4th. Let's check it. It's going to go against, Dreiling. I started to say Manning has only played 15 of a possible 33 minutes in this game.
Manning is going to check into the ball game right now. He's going to come in for Greg Dreiling, so Larry Brown feeling that he's going to roll dice right now. He's trading one player for the other with 4 fouls.
Greg will sit down. Backcourt to Person. We have 3 men in this game now with 4 fouls. And they're all key.
Look to see if Auburn can spring Person up around the top of the key. That's where they like to get him that shot against the zone.
Auburn trailing by 1. Approaching 7 minutes to go in the game.
Well, they're really trying to get the ball to Person right now. They're just looking for him every time down the floor, every possession.
Baseline goes Person.
Finally got it.
The man, when the game's on the line, they want to have the basketball. He has 12 points, 14th lead change of this game. See the percentages dropping off, especially for Auburn. Calvin Thompson getting ready to come back in. Cedric Hunter out to Milton Newton. There's Newton. Rebound Kellogg. Power move. That'll count, and he's been fouled. Seemed like everybody else was nailed to the floor, and here goes Kellogg skyrocketing up there.
Milton Newton's going to miss the jumper. Ron Kellogg, a nice rebound. He's going to dip his shoulder to draw the contact and score. And now he's got an opportunity to give Kansas a 2-point lead with 6:04 remaining. We've had some substitutions.
That's right. Calvin Thompson has come back in. Dreiling in there now. So they're going with their starting 5 with 6:04 to go. That foul, by the way, was on White, his 3rd personal. Kellogg missed another free throw. Kansas by 1, 6 minutes to go. The Jayhawks in with their starting 5 now. Both Manning and Dreiling playing with 4. 4 fouls on Chuck Person. Get the feeling who goes first could be a big story in this game.
I have the same feeling.
Here's Ford. Dreiling. That's goaltending.
How about this? Auburn has got Chuck Person on the perimeter right now. And that time, Frank Ford posted up Greg Dreiling and just turned around and scored. He's going to get called for the goaltend, but Person, a nice feed. And here's Ford in there operating in the low post, 6'4" against 7 feet.
That's quite an interchange, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
20 points for Ford. Strong game for Ford. Auburn by 1. 5.5 to go.
Auburn staying in that box and 1 defense. Chris Morris just shadowing Ron Kellogg wherever he goes.
Hudson. That looked like the first half, didn't it?
You know, he's hit every one of his jumpers from the same side of the floor. He's had about 6 jump shots, and they've all been from the right side of the floor.
This game's starting to pick up a little bit rhythm-wise, similar to what we had in the first 5 to 6 minutes. Well, you got to respect Chris Morris. He will put it up, and chances are it'll go in. And it goes to Person. Dreiling operating against it. Good defense by Dreiling. Rebound Manning. Here comes Kellogg. Kellogg. Beautiful move. Oh, what a nice suspended move that was by Ron Kellogg.
The Auburn player ran in front of him to try to distract him. He crossed him over and finished it off nicely. And now Kansas up 3.
17 points for Kellogg. 4.5 minutes to go. Person. Dreiling in his face made no difference.
Well, Sonny Smith made that phone call, that long distance, person to person.
I knew you'd get that in. 14 points now for Chuck Person. I liked it. 1 point lead now for the Jayhawks. the right to meet North Carolina next week. Manning rebounds the shot, and he's fouled. That'll go on Morris, Chris Morris. That's his first. You either have a lot of foul trouble, you don't have any in this game, it seems. That's only the first on Morris, but more importantly, that's the 7th team foul. It'll send Kansas to the line. Kansas has not been that effective at the line. They've only hit 3 of 6 thus far.
Well, we saw in the first ball game today, Notre Dame actually lose that ball game at the foul line, and Kansas, a great free throw shooting team, and just have not been able to get there enough today to be able to convert.
Jayhawks shooting over 71%. Riley hit that. 52-50. 7 points for Manning. By the way, Kellogg and Thompson have 32 of the 52 points that Kansas has scored in this game. This guy's been on the bench too much. 2-point lead. 3:58 to go.
Look to see if this possession down the floor, if they try to spring Person out around the foul line rather than on the baseline. He likes to shoot that jumper out around the top of the circle.
He's going to shoot it right here. You got a feeling that that ball's going in.
He's so difficult to defend because he can score low, he can score on the baseline. That time he moved out to the foul line extended and knocked in a jumper.
16 points. The all-SEC pick. 52 apiece. 3:26 to go. There's 2 excellent games here today from the Athletic and Convocation Center at Notre Dame. Calvin Thompson moving on Morris. Ball away. Good defense by Morris. Kicked out to Thompson.
Again, that's not Calvin Thompson's shot. Driving in the lane and changing it. He needs to go right up in rhythm. Auburn straight man-to-man defense.
Riley. Rebound effectively by Holland. Auburn with a chance to take the lead. Frank Ford, who has 20 points already. Lean in. The basket will count, and he's fouled.
Oh, I thought that was an offensive foul. I hate to say that, but I think that was an offensive foul. Gary, see if he dips his shoulder and creates the contact. I'll let you call this. Does he jump in? It's hard to see from that angle, but I thought Calvin Thompson kept his hands up. And see if we can see it better from this way. See if he dips his shoulder and jumps in. I don't think that that's a defensive foul there myself. It's tough enough to play defense in this game without giving the advantage to the offensive man jumping in.
Well, Bain, who called it, Jim Bain, was on the baseline behind it, but made it even more difficult to call.
At a very difficult angle. You're absolutely right, Gary. That's a big 3-point play.
55-52, and time 2:50 to go. 23 points for Ford.
Triangle and 2 defense this time down the floor again.
They don't have a lot of time now. They've got to get something going.
Kenny Manning's got to take the shot.
They can get it. Rebound by Morris. Here comes White. And Kellogg commits the foul. That'll be the first on Kellogg. And with 2:28 to go, Auburn right now in very good position.
Ron Kellogg trying to get the ball back. This goes right at Gerald White. That's an open field tackle. Not a bad foul, though, because they're not in the bonus.
That was a 16 foul. One more, and they will be.
I'm not so sure that he did not commit that foul, Gary, so that next time they will be shooting the bonus. So Auburn is not a good free throw shooting team. And Kansas now might want to start picking the player out that they want to put on the foul line. Obviously not Chuck Person or Gerald White. Those 2 guys are their best free throw shooters. The other 3 not good free throw shooters on the floor.
Morris is 64, Morris 60. They may not have to worry about it because of Person.
I want to tell you one thing. That is a sweet player right there. That kid can play basketball.
18 points for Person, a 5-point lead now. Hunter doesn't get it, and now Auburn will take their time. White will bring it out. Inside 2 minutes to go.
They got to start fouling right now. They've got to start fouling. Gerald White, I'm sure, is going to try to keep the ball in his hands as much as possible. Got to be aware of a 5-second count as well.
Boy, it's been Ford and Person down the stretch. The 1-2 punch for this Auburn team.
Kansas is going to have to start chasing now. They've got to find a man and start chasing. I'm surprised he's taking that shot. You think he's got confidence? Huh? You think that was confidence? Wow.
Person is just superb. Here's Calvin Thompson, very tough shot. Cedric Hunter brings it down. He'll follow. The basket will count, but it's going to be a charge on Cedric Hunter. Both Ford and Person have 20-plus points. Ford with 23, Person with 20. But Person down the stretch after coming off the bench for that fourth foul, he has just demanded they get the ball to him.
Well, as a coach over there, if you're Sonny Smith and a while ago you had a 5-point lead and you're holding for the last, or you're just trying to milk the clock, and Chuck Person, you go, no, and you go, oh, great shot.
Yeah.
That's, I don't think Chuck Person drew the charge. I thought it was someone else. I think he's sneaking in to shoot the free throw. Watch this.
Chris Piper will come in now. They're going to change it, but that's not really much of an advantage because this guy's a good free throw shooter too, Gerald White.
He's actually a better free throw shooter, is he not?
78%. Here's Piper coming in for Dreiling. The Kansas have to get some chasers in there now. With a minute 16 to go in the game. Game was seesawing back and forth, and all of a sudden Person comes off the bench and they ignite. Auburn now has bumped it up to a 6-point lead.
Well, Auburn right now, what they want to do is they want to contain Kansas as much as possible. Don't let them just drive the ball down the floor and get a quick score. Do not foul, do not stop the clock. Those are the three things you want to do right now if you're Auburn in the lead.
Auburn, for being a bad free throw shooting team, isn't today. They are 9 of 10 from the strike. Cedric Hunter gets it. Timeout, Kansas. Jayhawks trail by 5, 1:09 to go. Larry Brown certainly hasn't given up in this ball game. Sonny Smith's very aware of it. Auburn, who this year won their first NCAA tourney game ever, trying to make it 2 in a row.
Direct.
Well, there's the vital statistics. Auburn leading Kansas with a minute 1. The possession arrow points towards Kansas. The Jayhawks have 1 timeout remaining. But you made a very good point, Doug, a while ago on that touchdown pass that Auburn tried.
It's not a high percentage play, and then after you turn it over, you just can't allow a team to waltz in and score in 2 or 3 seconds. You got to continue to play defense. And that time, Calvin Thompson, one dribble and just drove in and dunked the ball, called timeout. They only lost about 3 seconds and picked up 2 points.
Thompson and Kellogg each with 17 points. Ford, oh, he runs into Manning.
That's a good no call. You've got to have a spot to come down on the floor. Nice no call.
And there's Calvin Thompson chasing White. Now, that'll be an intentional foul.
Oh, I just can't believe you're going to give him a 2-shot foul on that.
Well, that's what it's going to be, and White will go to the line.
You've got to make an attempt to go for the basketball, but I didn't think that was flagrant enough to require a 2-shot foul.
Whom to foul is the story here. And you can see Morris would be your first choice along with Ford, but not the guy that's at the line now. He is 3 of 4 today and now 4 of 5. And you just forget about all the statistics in this season. They now are 10 of 11 from the line.
That's why a tournament is so crazy. Notre Dame, a great free throw shooting in the first ball game. A great shooting team. That was what lost the ball game for them.
Kansas in a hurry-up posture. Cedric Hunter. Hunter has a rebound. He'll try it again. He gets a roll. Kansas wants another timeout, and that's their final timeout with 41 seconds. And again, a 3-point game. I really like the way Kansas has judiciously used their timeouts.
Well, that's another Dean Smith trademark, keeping those timeouts to the late in the ball game when you need them. And Larry Brown, being a disciple of Dean Smith, I'm sure had that in the back of his mind. Gary, right now, what you've got to do if you're Auburn, you got to realize that after a made score, the guy throwing the ball in can run the baseline. Chris Morris almost panicked the last time, thinking he could not move. Almost forced a charging violation against Gerald White on the delivery of a pass that he had to catch in traffic.
Well, what's at stake is Larry Brown would like to get a chance to coach against his mentor, Dean Smith. And on the other hand, Auburn would love to get back to Birmingham in their backyard and play in that tournament.
I also think that this is important for Sonny Smith. He indicated yesterday to us he wants to keep coaching, and he feels with a strong finish like this, maybe someone would be interested in having him come in and run their program. So important for both teams in different ways, I guess you could say.
Well, I think you should also know, and we said this earlier, that Sonny Smith is not completely out of the picture at Auburn. There's a move underway and some talk about the fact that he might be asked to stay, even though he resigned earlier this year. And, of course, a win here and heading into the Civic Center in Birmingham would really help his cause.
I'm sure right now that Sonny Smith has told Chris Morris, if he's taking the ball in, look, Chris, you can run the baseline. If at all possible, let's get it in the hands of Person or White. They're our best free throw shooters. Larry Brown trying to get the other two guys to handle the ball and foul immediately.
41 to go. Here's White. Hunter hits the deck. Still no foul. Morris lost it, and then Kellogg committed the foul.
Oh, I tell you, Chris Morris dribbling the ball, splitting defenders. These young kids have so much confidence. You talk about no concept of time and score. He's playing in the NCAA tournament as a freshman, and he's dribbling the ball like he's in his backyard.
And Sonny Smith is getting older by the second.
Oh, my word. As a coach, Gary, you sit over on the bench, and the last 2 minutes seems like eternity.
Auburn has hit 7 in a row from the line, 11 of 12 for the game. Guy was Mr. Basketball in Georgia last year out of Atlanta. That's a big miss. Hunter, Calvin Thompson will load it up. It's a one-point game with 27 seconds. Kansas has no timeouts left. White, they kick it off to Person. 20 seconds, they got a foul. They got a fouling. And there's Piper, and they're going to call two there again. I don't know how you can win that situation, Doug. Piper committing the foul. That was 17 seconds is what we have left. All right, we welcome those people watching the St. John's, Arkansas game. We have 17 seconds left in this game. Auburn leading 63-62. At the line with 2 free throws coming is Gerald White. Auburn has been doing an extremely good job at the free throw line, hitting 11 of 13 as Chris Piper leads the ball game. I'm Gary Bender along with Doug Collins. The winner of this game moves to Birmingham to meet North Carolina. And Auburn continues to do the job at the stripe.
Gary, again, a 2-shot foul. I thought that Chris Piper did a good job of attempting to draw an offensive foul. He stuck his leg out a little bit, but I didn't think it warranted 2 shots.
But it got to him for White, and now Auburn will use the timeout. They have 2 remaining. Kansas has used all of their timeouts, and with 17 seconds to go, Kansas down by 3. Game was tied at halftime. It's been a seesaw affair all afternoon long.
Now, direct from the future comes the Canon T70. The T70, sleeker to hold, simpler to handle. Controls are now touch.
Got into foul trouble, and both teams slowed the tempo down. They were kind of waiting for the Stars to return. The pace has picked up since that time, but it's been Person and Frank Ford down the stretch drive that's carried this Auburn team, which has been such a surprise, winning the Southeastern Conference tournament.
I think Sonny Smith probably told his team, let's pick up, put just token pressure on. They do not have any timeouts. Make them use some clock to go down and score, but do not foul. No 3-point play opportunities. Get the ball inbounds. They cannot stop the clock.
Dreiling will try to inbounds and does to Hunter. Hunter in a hurry. Calvin Thompson has a strong game of 17 points. Cuts it to 1. 9 seconds, 8. And wait a minute, Larry Limbo says, let's stop the clock. We have the ball being kicked around. Up it comes to Morris with 6. And a foul. And let's see, is it 2? It is. Jim Bain has called 2 again. That's the 3rd time he has called it an intentional foul. Cedric Hunter, the guilty party. And Doug, I'm with you. I don't know what you expect a kid to do in that situation.
The officials know that late in the ball game and you're down, you've got to foul. And to me, as long as you're not going after a kid's head or intentionally going after him hard, then I don't think it should be a 2-shot foul. I know there's a fine line, and they say you're supposed to go for the ball. That's 3 straight 2-shot fouls, and that makes a big difference pressure-wise when you're shooting 1 and 1 or 2 shots, believe me.
A 1-point lead for Auburn. First and misses. So it's academic, I guess, if he can miss the second one.
Well, he needs to make this, Gary, to give him a 2-point lead. Kansas is going to have to go length the floor.
Tad Boyle is going to come in. Dryling will come out of the ball game.
You've got to be able, if you're Auburn, if Chuck Person aims to make this free throw, try to contain a little bit. Don't let him throw long and score. There's a lot of crazy things can happen here.
Well, they have the other 4 players across the midcourt line like they will not pressure anyone. Person hit it, so he's clinched at least a tie now unless they have the 3-point play. Here is Manning. Danny Manning's shot is on the way. Tipped up, and Auburn has won it. Auburn moves on to Birmingham to meet North Carolina as they win it here 66-64. As Auburn now has won 22 games against the 11 setbacks. Kansas, with an outstanding year, will finish the season at 26-8. And so Auburn now will head into Birmingham. They'll be back in their backyard. As now, let's go to Brent Musburger, the final here. Auburn defeating Kansas.
All right, Gary, thank you. What a story Coach Sonny Smith is becoming. Having resigned already, the team's still on the move. His Chevrolet most valuable player today was Frank Ford, and for Kansas, it was Calvin Thompson. Now, another game just ended, of course. St. John's, having eliminated Arkansas and Eddie